Don't you just love it? It's Halloween season. What's going on, people? My name is Alex Thorn, and I'm a rocker who in his downtime likes to sit back, relax, watch some movies while wearing a bandana. With Halloween Ends hitting theaters and Peacock this Friday, I figured I'd go back and watch the 3 movies that are actually called Halloween. The original from 1978, Rob Zombie's remake from 2007, and the most current Halloween from 2018, so that we can prep up together for what is supposed to be the end of Michael Myers. So traveling back to 1978, we know now that Michael Myers and John Carpenter started it all with the original Halloween. Now, look, I know the importance of this movie in the annals of history. I know Michael Myers existed before Jason, before Freddy, before any of the classics that would come about in the modern era. But I gotta tell you, this movie is slow. I know. Don't remove your subscription just yet. Don't cancel me. I'm just getting started. And I get it. It's all within context. Like, you got to go back to what existed at that time and what, the groundbreaking movement that this movie was doing. But in 2022, this was just, man, really slow. But I will tell you this. This movie has been cleaned up so much. I watched it streaming off of AMC Plus, and they have just, I don't know where they got their transfer from. I don't know if it's the 4K or the Blu-ray rip that they were playing, but my God, this movie, especially during the day, it looked amazing. I was like, wow, this movie doesn't look like it's 78. This looks like a 1995 movie or something, like that they cleaned that up. That's how good it looked. But if we go back in time really quickly for the movie, Michael Myers kills his sister in the house, kills the boyfriend, is at 6 years old, is on Halloween night, is taken off to a mental institution, and he's watched over by Dr. Loomis, who has been with him since 6 years old until, we catch up with the movie at that time. Now here's the thing, I've gone back and I've read about this, and John Carpenter planned on Halloween just being a one-off. So he didn't really give any reason for anything whatsoever, which is why she just happens to be the last one, her being Laurie Strode. And, as we know, if you haven't watched it, sorry, I'm giving you spoilers on a movie that's so long ago. But, as we know, Laurie turns out to be his sister. They reveal that in part 2. It's nowhere said in part 1. In part 1, he's just this maniac who's let loose, who, by the way, drives a car quite often in the original movie. The one thing that kind of throws me off about the original is that you can hear Michael breathing in a mask before he ever gets the mask. Okay, just a small little tidbit that kind of bothered me as I was watching it. It's the first movie to give you that thriller slasher thing that we got for decades and decades to come. I mean, there's a lot of staples of this movie that's still being used today. So for me, I would actually give Halloween 1978, the original, 3 bandanas out of 5. It is a classic. It is a good watch every few years. I couldn't watch it every year because it would bore me out to tears. But it is a good watch. It is a pioneer. And it's worthy of 3 bandanas out of 5. Now we fast forward to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Man, this movie starts out with God of Thunder by Kiss, my favorite band of all time. But holy shit, is this movie it's just insane. From the kills to the ridiculous amount of cursing and just disgusting talk in there, as well as the nudity. So, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Those 2 things I just mentioned are just... But I got to say, I really, 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 really enjoy this movie. If there was one Halloween movie that I could watch every year and go back to, it would be this movie. I mean, it's so entertaining because you actually finally get the motives behind Michael Myers' killing. Now, I know in the original 1 through 8, they had their own reason, the cult of Thorn, and he was just going after his family. But then this one reinvents that and makes him more human by saying Michael Myers turned the way he did because he was a product of a shitty upbringing. And when I say shitty upbringing, I really mean it. I mean, he's got a stripper of a mother. No offense to any strippers out there, but a lot of stripper mothers are just blah. Especially this one, who is also played by Rob Zombie's wife. And then you've got like this horrible stepfather. And then the sister that in the original 1978 one that you see him kill, you know, out of nowhere with no context, actually has somewhat of a backstory in this one. You get to see the interactions. She's a piece of crap. She's also a very shitty person. And you've got the bullies at school, and you've got all this stuff, and you can only assume this has been going on for years and years and years and years. Michael is a product of his upbringing. I actually love this because this is how a lot of serial killers are brought up, like just the worst family stories. And even though the mother thought she was doing the best she could, she was actually hurting her entire family by making the choices that she made, which is reality. I love that aspect. I love that we get to see him in the mental institution for longer than just a conversation. You actually get to see, you know, some therapy sessions with Dr. Loomis. You get to see Michael grow to be this gigantic mammoth of a man. And then in his room, you get to see his mental institution room. You actually get to see all the masks that he creates because he doesn't feel like revealing himself to the world, that obsession. So there's a lot of good that Rob Zombie did here. And a lot of it is like before the movie takes place in Haddonfield, where he wears the actual mask. A lot of it is just before it gets there. So good. And you actually get Danielle Harris back. She's not playing, unfortunately, she's not playing Laurie Strode's daughter. She's playing one of Laurie Strode's friends. And that kind of like, really? But hey, Danielle Harris, Jamie Lloyd, however they called her, I think that was her name. Yeah, my God, man, she does such a good job. The moment I saw her, I just smiled from ear to ear. It's crazy because she has a magic on the screen. And it's not just, oh, she's attractive and she's cute. No, there's something that just draws you to her when she's on that screen. So she did really good. And then, like I mentioned earlier, there was 2 things that I just don't like about this movie, and it's the gratuitous language. I mean, when they say nasty shit, I mean, they are disgusting. I mean, just the talk. But unfortunately, the disgusting talk isn't just between, you know, a group of people. You know, there's 2 or 3 guys who talk like this. No. It's the teenage girls when they're together. It's the bullies. It's the 2 guys who go to, you know, take advantage of a mental patient in the mental institution. It's some of the other people. It's the cop. Everybody in this movie just, Rob Zombie has this like obsession with just being as filthy and disgusting as possible in his language. I don't get it. I'm a grown man. I like to curse. I talk to my guys, and we all talk, you know, how we talk, but not this. This is disgusting. Everybody is deplorable in this movie. And then there's a lot of nudity. Again, as a man, hey, you want to show off? Great. But there's like a full 2 minutes. Some of the kills to these women are like a full 2 minutes of them just being nude, running around. And I felt like I wasn't watching a Halloween movie. I felt like I was watching, you know, Slumber Party Massacre or Sorority High Massacre. Like, it was just uncomfortably too much. You know, I feel like every time I shoot these, my PlayStation 3 decides to fire up and see if there's an update. Every single time, without fail. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to say this right now. Rob Zombie's Halloween, to me, gets 4 bandanas out of 5. I mean, that movie is really enjoyable to watch once you can get past all the terrible language and like, man, this is kind of sad. And that finally brings us to our current trilogy, Halloween 2018, the return of Jamie Lee Curtis from her breakout role in 1978 to now 2018. This movie kind of confuses me. Halloween Ends is coming up. In the middle of that, we had Halloween Kills. You clearly watch these movies the first Halloween, 2018, and Halloween Kills, and you know that you're not done with the story. You can clearly tell that there is a trilogy vibe happening here. And my biggest thing about this movie is that it's just blah. It almost like it doesn't know what it wants to do. Again, the first part of the movie is pretty interesting to me. Much like Rob Zombie's, when they're trying to figure Michael Myers out, and there's a couple things that's kind of cool, but then it quickly falls apart. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is great, but she's not used enough. She's used as the Sarah Connor, if you know what I mean, with the latest Terminator flick that came out in the last 5 years. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, Dark Fate. She's kind of used like that. She's got this booby-trapped home, and she's been preparing all these years. I am not sure if they're continuing from part 1 or part 2. Why you would disregard part 2, the original, like from 1980, 81? I don't know why. It happens the same night. It adds a little bit of more, torture and anguish and mental shit to the story. But there's something that gets said in the beginning of this movie that really is, it's very disrespectful, much like what happened in the beginning of Terminator Dark Fate to fans of the series, which is there's a kid walking with Laurie Strode's granddaughter or some shit. There's so many characters in this movie. It's weird. It's boring. But there's a character that says, wasn't he going after your grandmother because that's his sister or something? And she goes, no, that's just a story people made up to make them feel better. I mean, from the moment they said that, I was just like, come on. Like, you can't make a new Halloween that follows up on what people have seen before. You're clearly depending on people to go back and watch the movies. And for the most part, yeah, somebody might watch just Halloween, but they're probably going to watch Halloween 1 and 2 and then try to watch this. To just disrespect all those sequels, just take away the family dynamic, it's just weird. And they double down on this later in the series, and to me, it's not creative. It's the exact opposite of creativity. It's just bland, boring, and as we used to say in pro wrestling, I wrestled for 5 years, we used to say lazy booking. Whenever there would be a DQ match, whenever there would be a no holds barred, whenever there would be anything like that, we would say, whew, lazy booking. You didn't know how to get out of it, so you just put no DQ. Everything is allowed because you had no finish. And that's what this movie felt like. It's like, all right, let's get rid of that family dynamic storyline and just say that he ends up there. He just ended up where Laurie is. I don't like it. So as the movie goes on, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, she is great when she's there, but it almost focuses on a bunch of other different people. And Michael Myers is really taking a slasher. He just kills just to kill. And then I won't spoil it because it's part of the new, trilogy that's about to come to an end. But there's a decision that's made in this movie towards the end by one of the characters that's just baffling, and not in a good way. It's not like, whoa, my God, you won't believe that. No, it happens and you're like, what the fuck? Like, okay, what now? And then it goes nowhere. And it's just like, huh? And there's weird comedy. There's some things in the movie that you're like, am I watching an extended version that this needed to be in here? And then there's a lot of mindless killing. And then it just doesn't feel like there's a purpose and a reason. It's just the epitome of lazy booking. So for me, I'm going to give Halloween 2018 2 bandanas out of 5. Is it watchable? Of course it is. It's not a bad movie by any means, but it's not good either. So let me know down below which of these 3, 1978, 2007, or 2018's Halloween is your favorite. Are you anticipating Halloween ends? Are you in the Halloween spirit? Let me know down below. My name is Alex Thorn. You know what to do. Subscribe, comment, like. At 100 subscribers, I'm going to reveal my setup. And it's not this one. This is the bedroom, actually. I'm going to reveal what I'm watching, what TV, all that stuff that I got in my man cave living room, all because you guys got me to 100 subscribers. So go ahead, if you haven't subscribed, please leave me a like, leave me a comment on Halloween, and you know what I gotta do. I gotta go rock out and then go watch some movies. All right.